Yo, Smelly Randy here. Today is Monday, March 30th. Hope everyone had a good weekend. We did a whole lot of nothing. Yeah, I think all day Saturday I spent cleaning up the garage. I'm sorry, not the garage, the basement down here. Trying to get the workout bench cleared and everything so I can keep working out down here and still have enough space for the studio. So I'm not getting in my own way. And then Sunday, spent most of the day working on a trip video of our trip to Italy, which was last July. So yeah, still very much behind, and a lot of trips the rest of 2019 that I still need to work on. So yeah, not an exciting weekend at all. I'm sure it wasn't for a lot of you either. We did finish Tiger King, which was just bananas. Just when I thought it couldn't get any wilder, they dropped some new information, and yeah, that was just crazy. So, and then last night we watched The Invisible Man, which was not bad. There's been obviously a lot of Invisible Man movies. I think they did a really good job with this one. They almost lost me early on with something totally ridiculous that happened, but they reeled me back in, and it was pretty good from then on. So yeah, I'd recommend watching that. Give it 4 stars, 3.5. So yeah, that was all we did all weekend pretty much. So yeah, I'm back continuing these daily videos, and I decided this week is going to be dedicated to national parks. And the one thing that I keep from every national park I visit is the map that they give you when you enter the park. So these are all parks that I've been to in the past, and I figured each one of these maps has like an actual map of the park, and it usually has a lot of the significant trailheads and viewpoints and things like that. So what I decided to do is every day this week I'm going to highlight one national park and basically explain what I would do if I had one full day in each of these national parks, assuming I haven't been there before. So today we're going to start with one of my absolute favorites, and that is Grand Teton National Park. Let's go! Alright, so I've actually done this a lot with national parks where I'm only able to spend like one day there. So really the first thing I would do typically is figure out how much daylight I actually have. And to do that, I would typically open up a website called timeanddate.com. Great website for finding out sunrise, sunset times, when the moon rises and sets, and how much the moon will be illuminated. So you can go there on your phone and then just basically create a bookmark or add it to your home screen. So once you go to the website, you just plug in Grand Teton National Park, go to sun and moon, and then you basically get, let's see if I can get it to focus here. Not really. Oh, there we go, maybe. So yeah, that's showing me all the dates and times that the sunrise and sunset will happen. So for the sake of making this easy, I'm just going to go middle of the year. We're going to do July 15th, and sunrise is at 5:55 a.m. and sunset is 9:01 p.m. So yeah, that's obviously one of the longer days of the year. So plenty of daylight to work with. So yeah, we'll just say 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. is what we have to work with. So knowing that, the next most important thing to figure out is basically the layout of the park and kind of where everything is within the park. So to do that, we're going to open up the map here, and I'm going to try and tape this up onto the backdrop just so we can see it and I can point things out. So I don't know how this is going to work, so bear with me here. And actually, I'm going to do this. We're going to just zoom all the way in. And let's see, maybe here-ish. How about right about there? If I can push that on there. How's that look? All right, that's not bad. Okay. See if I can keep my face out of here while I point things out. And maybe make this a little bit brighter. Let's see, maybe too bright. All right, we'll just roll with that. Hopefully, see if I can make sure it's in focus. And yeah, so here we go. You'll see the dark lines in here are basically the main highways. And so Grand Teton National Park is in the northwest corner of Wyoming. So actually way up at the top here is actually, oh, that's not the state line. My bad. That's just Yellowstone National Park. So yeah, it's in the northwest corner of Wyoming, and just to the north is actually Yellowstone National Park. So it usually takes about an hour to drive from Teton, anywhere in the Tetons here in the main area, up to the Yellowstone National Park entrance. So that's one thing you should know anytime you visit, is that Yellowstone neighbors it to the north. And so you see there's really only like two main highways in the park. This one goes right through the park. This is Teton Park Road right here. And the other main road is this one that kind of runs parallel to it on the outskirts. That's Highway, I think, 191. So yeah, and the other thing you need to know is that you can see the Tetons without actually going into the park and paying admission if you just stay on this outside road right here. And that's where a lot of the viewpoints are if you just want to get some good pictures of the Teton mountain range. I think the only entrance gates where you actually pay for admission are basically to access this inside road here. And the one is right down here. This is the Moose entrance in Moose, Wyoming. And so right here is where the visitor center is. This is also where like one of the only gas stations is, and really the only place where you can buy snacks and groceries right here. Right by Dornan's, which that's a barbecue joint. There's also like a Italian pizza joint right in there too. So this is kind of like a main hub of Grand Teton National Park, is right by the southern entrance here. So yeah, if you want access to this road, you either pay right here at the Moose entrance, or you pay somewhere right around here by Signal Mountain. There's another entrance gate, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, it's really the one main road through the park. So if you're planning on hiking in the park, you're going to need to pay entrance and get onto this road. That's where all the trailheads are pretty much. So yeah, if I had one day in the park, I'm basically going to do as many hikes as I can. And I think where I would start is right around Jenny Lake here. One of my favorite day hikes I've ever done has been a 20-mile hike that started by going up Paintbrush Canyon right here, and you can see it goes up over a mountain pass, loops down to Lake Solitude, and then it follows Cascade Canyon all the way back to Jenny Lake. And then once you get to Jenny Lake, there's actually a shuttle boat that will take you across the lake, and that'll also cut off about 2.5 to 3 miles of hiking around the lake. It's just an awesome experience to be able to hike all day and then jump on a boat and take a nice scenic boat ride back across the lake there. So I'd highly recommend doing that. And knowing that, my first hike of the day would be actually up around the lake and then into Cascade Canyon, right about there, about 3/4 of the way to Lake Solitude. that to get about 3/4 of the way to Lake Solitude, that's about a 7.5 mile hike in. So we're talking about a 15-mile hike total. So what I would do is I would probably start that hike. If sunrise is at 6 a.m., I'm probably going to start at about 5:30 when it's plenty light out to not need a headlamp. And that, let's say I hike conservatively 2.5 miles an hour. I know I can get out that far in 3 hours. So I would plan on being at the end of my route right here by about 8:30 a.m. So that's what I would do. The reason I'm not going all the way out to Lake Solitude is I just don't think it's a great place to go. I mean, like, Lake Solitude's beautiful and it's great, but I think my main reason for using this trail and going almost all the way out there is just to get the views coming back. The views of the Tetons up here in the North Fork of Cascade Canyon are just unbelievable. And here, I'll actually show you. This is actually the photo book I made for our first trip, Carrie and I's first week-long camping trip together. And you can see the Tetons in the background there. But we did the day hike to Lake Solitude, and on the way there, this is kind of the view that you get. Just an unbelievable view of the Tetons behind you. So after you hike out into the canyon, on the way back, you'll be facing this view right here. So on the way back, you'll be staring at that view all the way back. That view alone, I think, is worth making the long hike out there. Again, I said 7.5 miles roughly to get out that far to get that view. So yeah, if I'm out there by 8 a.m., let's just say, I'm sorry, 8:30 a.m., maybe I spend a half hour there taking pictures. So 9 o'clock and then another 3 hours back. So that puts me back at the trailhead after a shuttle ride, roughly around 10, 11, 12, right about noon. All right, so I feel pretty good. I can get 15 miles in and be back at the trailhead by noon. After that, what I would do, I'd hop on the road here. I'd go up. I think it's, where is it actually? Oh, all right. So I'd actually just go a little bit south from there, and I think it's the Lupine Meadows trailhead. So I drive just right around the corner. It probably takes 10 minutes just to drive to that trailhead. And then I would hike to Delta Lake. Either Delta Lake or Amphitheater Lake. I think, oh God, my focus is all off, sorry. All right, so if you didn't see, because it was out of focus, I'd drive after that hike at noon. I'd drive 5 minutes down here to Lupine Meadows trailhead. I hope that thing's staying in focus. And then I would hike to either Delta Lake or Amphitheater Lake. Personally, I would choose Delta Lake. That is a roughly 7-mile round trip hike, and I know I've done that in about 3 hours, 3.5 hours total. So yeah, those are the two hikes that I would do, and I'd knock them out first thing in the morning. So if it takes me, let's just say 3.5 hours to do that hike, with maybe another 30 minutes of drive time total, I think I could be done with Delta Lake hike by about 4 p.m. And actually, let me see if I could show you Delta Lake here. Oh, yeah, here we go. This is from another photo book I did. Delta Lake, beautiful turquoise water down here with another unbelievable view of the Tetons behind it. So I think those are my two favorite views in the Tetons that I've gotten on hikes. So yeah, I would knock those two hikes out. I know it's a lot. Now we're talking about being done with like 22 miles of hiking by like 4 p.m., which is, it's a lot. That's a ton. But personally, that's just what I would do if I had one day. I'd do those two hikes. After that, I would basically start hitting all the photo spots, I would probably exit the park back down here, and then go up a little bit and go to Antelope Flats Road right here. And that's where the Mormon Row Historic District is. If you ever see photos of this big like kind of A-frame barn with the Tetons behind it, that's where that is. That's Mormon Row, and that's right on Antelope Flats Road. So that's a good photo spot. And then Mormon Row continues south, and there's a lot more other barns where you can just get some great photos with the Tetons in the background. So that's all right here, just to the east of the park. And then I would just continue north up that road, Highway 191. I can see here Glacier View Turnout, Schwabacher Landing. I would spend probably half hour to an hour there. There's great views. You can get some great reflections of the Tetons in the water right in the river down here at Schwabacher Landing. And then past that is Teton Point Turnout. That's just another little turnout for photos. And then further north up here is Snake River Overlook. You've probably seen a lot of pictures from there where the river kind of wraps around with the Tetons in the background. So let's just say conservatively, maybe we could finish all of that by like, let's say 6 p.m. Another good thing I might do is continue on, drive up north, continue around. I'd stop at Oxbow Bend Turnout. I think I have a photo at least from Oxbow. Let's see here. Here we go. That's Oxbow Bend Turnout in the fall. This was just in October. Yeah, just another great photo spot. After that, I would continue. I'd probably go all the way up to Jackson Lake. It's where the Coulter Bay Visitor Center is. You can get food up there. There's another gas station up here. And the first time we went here, we actually rented a kayak or a canoe, and just went out on the lake, which was awesome. Let's see. I know I have a photo of that in here. Where is it? What the? Oh, here we go. All right, sorry about that. So that was from our first trip up there. We rented a kayak, took some beers out, and yeah, just had a good time paddling on the water with some great mountain views. So yeah, if you did that, you could probably do that around, what did I say, 7 p.m. You could probably be done with this by like 7 p.m. And then after that, I would probably go find a campsite or return to my campsite. And basically all of this right here to the east is Bridger Teton National Forest. It's a national forest, so there's free dispersed camping anywhere you can find a campsite on the forest roads in here. I maintain this is the best free camping in the country, and it's not even close because you can find hundreds of sites with overlooking the Tetons. So a good place to go for that is to go back down to Antelope Flats Road where Mormon Row is, continue past Mormon Row, and then stay left and take, this basically turns into Shadow Mountain Road. And you can find a lot of good free campsites up along this road. And there's a lot of other forest roads in here in this general area where you can just find amazing campsites for free. So yeah, I'd try and make it back to my campsite in time for sunset at 9 p.m. And that is basically how I would spend a full day in Grand Teton National Park. If you don't go back to your campsite for sunset, Schwabacher Landing or Snake River Overlook are other good options. But But yeah, that is what I would do with one full day in Grand Teton National Park. You'll be hustling the whole time if you try and follow my itinerary to the dot, and you're going to have to hustle on the trails too. One thing I should note is the Tetons are in Wyoming, and that is absolutely grizzly bear country. So absolutely don't go out hiking without bringing bear spray or a gun or yeah, those are the two main things. Just make sure you bring either bear spray or a firearm. It is grizzly country. I think both of the two times where I started hiking around Jenny Lake before sunrise or just after sunrise, when there weren't any other people on the trail, we ran into bears both times. They were black bears, so that was better. I've actually never seen grizzlies in Tetons. Tons of moose and tons of black bears. There are grizzly bears, though. People get mauled there every year, unfortunately. So, yeah, absolutely do not hike in the Tetons without bringing your bear spray or a firearm. So, yeah. You'll see plenty of moose. You should see plenty of moose. I think I've seen moose on the trail or outside of the park. In October, we saw them right at the entrance, right at like the moose entrance, appropriately named, right across from Dornan's. We saw 2 moose there in October. And then on that Cascade Trail, North Fork of the Cascade Canyon Trail, we were there in June, and we actually had moose, one moose, a bull moose, just come walking right down the trail at us, and we were in a group of 7, and we all had to like scurry up into the rocks to get off of the trail just to let the moose pass by. So that was really cool. I don't think I have any pictures of that handy right now, but yeah. You can actually, I think I have a video of that up, so if you want to check that out. Great. But yeah, that's Grand Teton National Park in one day, assuming I have never been there, and I have from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. to explore the park. So, yeah, there's the one other thing I would tell you. You can enter from the south. This is Jackson Hole Airport right here, and then Jackson Hole is only like a 10 to 15 minute drive south of the park. Or you can enter from the north, which you would typically only do if you're coming from Yellowstone National Park, or you can enter from the east. This is the way I always take in. There are amazing road views of the Tetons from Highway 26 here. Coming from Colorado, I almost always take this way in. It's more scenic, and from Colorado, it's pretty much the same distance, if not a bit shorter than going through Jackson Hole from the south. I've never actually taken this road in from the east, but that's not really like a main highway. So yeah, I'd recommend taking Highway 26 in from the east. So yeah, that's Grand Teton National Park in a nutshell. It's basically one road north and south, and another road parallel to it. The one goes through the park, the other one does not. So yeah, no shortage of trails to hike there. And if you have any questions about the Tetons, let me know. I typically go there like 1 to 2 times a year. It's one of my absolute favorite places in the country. So yeah, that's it. Tomorrow, I think maybe I'll be doing Glacier National Park. Probably Glacier or Yosemite. Yosemite would be a little bit easier. Glacier is just so massive and so many amazing parts of the park. So I might have to do a little bit of research and decide what my plan would be before I make a video of that. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Let me know if you have any questions. We will see you tomorrow. Bye. Oh, one more thing real quick. If you're curious about the hikes that I talked about, I'll actually put links to those hikes down in the description, as well as I'll do a direct link to the Grand Teton map that can basically be found here and on their website. I'll just put a direct link down to it below. So check that out. That's all I got. Later.